We have 5 team rules. Direct, open, and honest communication. In a word, that means the truth. So I saw some of your questions. Some of the questions you guys wrote down was, what did I learn at General Motors? Let me tell you another thing I learned at General Motors. Was my first job, I was a production foreman, second shift, 19 years old, at the only Cadillac plant in the world. It was an old plant. And back then, Cadillac was the top. It was the standard of the world. And about 50% of those cars coming off the line had to go in the repair bins. So it was just horrible, horrible quality. Now, the guy who was my supervisor, he let me watch it go up the chain. So then, I'd report out to him, and then I would see how he would take it. He goes, oh, man, our quality's not good. Then I would see it go up to the plant superintendent. They go, well, we got these 5 problems in the quality here. Then I see it go to the superintendent, the VP of manufacturing. He goes, man, we have this one thing we're working on, And then it would go up to the general manager of Cadillac. It's like, okay, everything's okay. Now that next summer, then I worked in the New York Treasurer's office where the board of directors meets. I was a staff guy to the board. Actually, my boss back then, I was 4 years older than me, and I'd be the CEO of General Motors for 10 years, Rick Wagner. But now I could see what happens when it goes, to general manager, to senior VP. Senior VP, our quality is great. Goes up to EVP, just couldn't be better. Then it goes up to the board. We have no competition. So what I learned is, man, you need that truth. And the only time, I get upset as the CEO, these guys can vouch for that, is if there's a surprise, right? Surprises are for birthdays. You got to get that truth out. Direct, open, and honest communication. Second thing is create that safe environment. No idea is a bad idea, because out of that comes a lot of creativity. Now we put parentheses right next to that, and it says, unless it's the CEO's, because it's open season to mock out the CEO. That makes it fun. That actually makes a safe environment. Raise the standard in everything we do, of course. Fourth, we're functional. We're a team first, functional specialist second. So for everybody, think with your CEO hat on. So you product developer guys, put your feet in the customer's shoes. You sales guys, don't make commitments to the customers you can't keep. So it's all about putting the team first. And then the fifth one, which is my favorite one, which is the most important one, hire the best people, especially if they're better than us. Now, I'll tell you a story about another early day at Ariba. I think we had about 50 people in the company. I don't know, we've been going about 6 months. And we would always have a round table every Friday, company meeting. And, I'd say a few things, we'd show them, something like that. But everybody got to go around and say whatever they wanted. And I'll never forget, one of the founders, he was a VP of marketing, Bobby Lynch, stands up and he goes, oh my God, this opportunity is bigger than I imagined. This company is going to be so successful, it's unbelievable. Citing team rule number 5, I think I should step aside, just focus on strategic alliances, and we got to go out and hire a real world-class VP of marketing. And you can just see the jaws drop. And I'll never forget the guy sitting next to him. His name was Guy Haskins. He was about 23 years old. And he just looks at Bobby and he goes, I just came from a software company that's going to go bankrupt any day. But if one of the guys would have had the courage to say what you just did, this thing could have gone to the moon. So ever since that moment, it became noble. It became noble to hire the best people, especially if they're better than us. And then I had another founder, this guy, Rob DeSanta. He was running sales. And this is probably about a year in or so. And he's got probably 20 sales guys working for him. And he goes, Krach, he goes, I think we ought to go hire somebody else. I'm going, Rob, man, you just closed like a $5 million deal at FedEx, $3 million Bristol Myers Squibb. No, he goes, I'm more of a startup guy. Why don't I go over to Amsterdam and run that same play I did at Rasnet, and we'll open up our European office. And I'm like, yeah, right, who are you going to hire? He goes, well, maybe like the VP of North American sales for SAP. I go, great, all right. You hire that guy, then you can go to Europe. He goes, okay, now, can I have an application engineer and a secretary? Okay, fine. And he goes, and only a $2 million quota? I go, okay, that's fine. Comes back a month later, VP of North American Sales from SAP, a guy named Paul Melchiori that took us totally to the next level. So Rob's over there in Europe. I call him every morning as I'm driving in. Rob, how you doing, man? How you doing? Oh, yeah, I've got a sale. No, About 6 months in, he goes, oh, yeah, we got our first order in Europe. I go, cool, who's it with? He goes, Philips. I go, that's great. They're a big company. They're great. They're in the Netherlands. I go, how big's the deal? He goes, $20 million deal. I go, okay, man, you can hire as many guys as you want. I became noble. Hire the best people, especially if they're better than us. That's something never, ever, ever forget. And when that becomes noble, that is the magic sauce of building a company. When you take it to that level.